Okay, so welcome to IELTS preparation by Bilal, that's me. So you start off with the writing task. Writing task is about how well you are at expressing English as a language. And you'll be tested on various aspects, such as your grammar, your spellings, your sentence structure, your expression, and overall coherence of the whole presentation that you do. So for the first task, we are going to use this sample that was available online. So as it reads, you should spend about 20 minutes on this task. The graph and table will gives information about water use worldwide and water consumption in two different countries. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Write at least 150 words. This 150 words means that you have to at least write 150 words or you'll be obviously penalized for that. So as we look at this, it's the global water use by sector. So if I actually recommend about how much time you'll take to do these things, it is best to take the first 5 minutes to actually plan on and the other 15 minutes to write. And some can even say that the first 7.5 minutes should be spent on understanding what the information is about, and then you should write the other 12.5, because writing 150 words is not a big thing, but writing on quality basis, that is the main thing here. So we'll start. Global water use by sector. So first, just skim the information. We know that this is global water use by sectors. So sectors include agriculture, industrial use, and domestic use. Okay, fair enough. What's on this side? Let's take the axis. The x-axis, it shows, I think this shows years, and the distance between every year is a decade. So this is about a century, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this is a century. What is this? This is kilometer cube, the water usage. Okay, so it's volume of water that is used. Now, water consumption in Brazil and Congo. Now, this was a global water use, okay, and this has to be compared with two countries, that's Brazil and Congo, in 2000. And this is only about here, 2000. So it's not about the whole thing. It's just about at this place. First, you have to make a comparison between the global water use and these two countries. Other than that, you have to compare these two countries with each other. And you also have to compare these these three sectors. One is agricultural, industrial use, and domestic use. And that's how the numbers would be divided. So first, as a first liner, you'd have to say, what is the main thing that has been described here? So we would say that the graph shows the global water usage with respect to sectors from 1900 to 2000. That's a century. That's about it. That's just the basic headline of what this is. Next comes the explanation of the graph. Second would be the comparison between this area. Okay, so the first paragraph would start something like, the agriculture uses the most water worldwide, and this goes up to 3,000 kilometer cube in 2000. And you can tell the increases. Now you can do the increases in percentages or you can do in figures. So if we do on figures, this is probably 500. So we can say in 1900 the agricultural use of water was 500, and then it extended up to 3,000. So that's almost, I guess, some 100, 2, 3, 4. That's like 4 times or maybe more. It's like 5 times increase, like 500%. So it is your own choice whether you want to express it in percentages, whether you want to express it in times, or whether you just want to say that from 500 it went to 3000. That's like a 2500 increase. So that's like the biggest increase here. If you look at the industrial use, this is probably like 200 or maybe 150. It's your choice. And you can go on say that industrial use and domestic use didn't increase, but a more better way to explain them these as the domestic industrial use were quite similar in 1900, and it extended and it increased till 2000 with in a good pace. But the industrial use is now more. Like in 2000, industrial use got more, but the domestic use didn't increase much from its initial outlay. So instead of making two different lines of saying that industrial increase from this and then to this, and domestic use increase from this and domestic use from this, you can instead say that they both started from the same place, and industrial use got at a higher level than the domestic use. This would mean that you are more expressive with your words and you're not repetitive. You're not repeating stuff. Okay. So next comes the water consumption in Brazil. Now this is the third paragraph, probably. And there are two countries, Brazil and Democratic Republic of Congo. Now you only have to use Congo to save words and to save your time. Now to explain it, first you have the main thing here is this area and combined with this. So you have to be focused on what you're trying to explain, because you're not trying to debate on the population. You're trying to debate on how much water is consumed per person. And by the way, this is talking about two areas here. This is about domestic use and this is about agriculture. Irrigated land relates to agriculture and water consumption per person relates to domestic use. So there's no industrial use here. And be careful about that. So Brazil has a 176 million population. You can start something like that. Brazil has 176 million population and a huge amount of irrigated land, like 26,500 kilometers square. Now this has nothing to do with this, and it is important to know that it has nothing to do with each of these. These are separate items that need to be separately compared with the other country. So irrigated land has to be compared with this irrigated land. And now no one is asking you for the geography of Brazil or Congo. You just have to say that the irrigated land in Brazil is much more than in Congo. And this has got nothing to do with water consumption per person. So the water consumption is 359 millicube, and here it is only 8 millicube. Now, no one is asking you for reasons, nobody asking you for any type of justification as to why this is happening. It's just happening, and you just have to state it, because you have to express the information that is provided in these tables and this graph in words. That's it. You don't have to explain any further. So you don't have to go on saying that people in Brazil are healthy people, or are they are more hygienic, or they are more concerned about um, being good, so they are using water more, or they are drinking water more. Nothing like that. No one's asking for you for justification. You just have to state simple facts which are given to you, and you have to say that it's a 176 million population and there's so much use of water, and here the population is quite low, and per person the water consumption is low too. That's it. That's about it. So now we'll see the actual sample answer that has been produced, and it's not a set answer, it's just which is considered to be something that's fine. So let's see. The first line was that graph shows how the amount of water used worldwide changed between 1900 to 2000. Fair enough. We did the same thing. Throughout the century, the largest quantity of water was used for agriculture purposes, and this increased dramatically from about 500 kilometer to 3000 kilometer cube in the year 2000. Now, this was all easy stuff. You know what the main thing that the examiner would be saying is this word, dramatically. Now, adding the addition of dramatically suggests that you have a real hold of the language. So you are using not only using verbs, but you are also using adverbs, and this adds to the whole thing. Now, the punctuations are important too. See how he's using the punctuations. Now, the largest quantity of water used for agricultural purposes throughout the century, then comma, and this, and then comma, and this has increased, and this is. Water used in the industrial and domestic vessels also increased. Now see, he's combining those two, suggesting that because these two can be combined. So he's combining that, but consumption was minimal until mid-century. From 1950 onwards, industry grew steadily to just over 1,000 km cube, while the domestic use rose more slowly to only 300 km cube, both far below the levels of consumption by agriculture. Now, this was a comparison between different sectors, as you can see, and you had to do this in that way. The table illustrates the differences in agricultural consumption in some areas of the world by contrasting the amount of irrigated land in Brazil with that in the DRC. Now he's using DRC. This is an incredible thing that you can make it by your own self. Now none of the information in the above table or the graph showed any sign of writing DRC, but you using DRC presents that you have an understanding of abbreviation, using abbreviation when you have to say one word. Now another important thing is that he is using expression to express it while using numbers in brackets. Now brackets suggest that you have an understanding that irrigated land in Brazil, how much? 26,500 kilometer cube. Now you didn't have to state it that in Brazil the amount of irrigated land was 26,500. This is elementary level English, but this is high level English. So you have to be careful about using numbers in such a way that you do not make the whole sentence just to prove a number. Here you say your whole sentence and you use the numbers within it. This means that a huge amount of water is used in agriculture in Brazil, and this is reflected in the figures of water consumption per person. 359 millimeter cube compared with only 8 millimeter cube in Congo, with a population of 160 million. The figures from Brazil indicate how agricultural water consumption can be in some countries. Now, this is no one here suggested anything, or no one here justified any information that was provided. They just went on with the information and they worked with it. So there was no need to justify the figures that you were given. And there can be many different ways how you interpret it. The problem is not that how you interpret it, the problem is how you actually express it and how you actually think. And that would be getting you the scores that are necessary.